Excuse me. Hi. Hi, beautiful people. If you are watching me on the replay, thank you for watching me. I appreciate you. My name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston, and I come on live on every single Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to record my podcast live. And I allow people to kind of ask questions. The purpose of this podcast is to help you kind of shift the way you think. A lot of times we get stuck in the cycle, and I find that like the lack of knowledge that we have about certain subjects and situations kind of keep us stuck. So my goal is to kind of provide this knowledge for you, to help you like really rethink some things. Last week we talked about nourishing your vision, a really good topic. And for my audio listeners, so people that might be visually watching me, the podcast has been on audio since 2018. And I just want to thank my listeners for rocking out with me, sharing, tagging me, and your post about the podcast. Like, I just want to say I appreciate you. I couldn't have this podcast without uh, the way that you share and my content and tag me. So thank you. But last week we talked about nourishing your vision, and that episode is streaming everywhere on all audio podcasting platforms, as well as visually on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram. Today, we're talking about really looking at what if things work out. A lot of times, we will end up looking at things from a negative perspective, and we will be worried about moving forward with any part of our plan or goal in life. And I'm going to show this wellness wheel. So if you look at this wellness wheel, these are like the different areas of our lives. For people listening, I have social, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, environmental, and financial wellness on here. And these are different areas that kind of make up our lives. Like, we need all of these things in life. And a lot of times when we're trying to work on our goals, we can doubt ourselves. We can doubt the ability of change taking place. So I have two different videos today. This is going to be a shorter episode, but really a powerful one. The one I'm going to show now is going to help you understand the impact of your thoughts and how you can't, like, the way you frame things in your head and your mind is important because your mind's listening. The person that we're going to listen to is Simon. So I'm going to share my screen now. And it's like how to stop holding yourself back. Share screen. Okay. So his name is Simon. He's really good. I believe he's a scientist. I love following scientists because neuroscientists, because I see how the mind works based off of my life and just how I've been able to get through things and what I've done to adjust. But just um, being able to like look at the visuals from a scientific perspective just brings it all together for me. So this is a 3-minute video that we're gonna watch and listen to for people that are listening on the audio.
Cannot comprehend, brain cannot comprehend the negative. It is incapable. Yes, it's true. I'll give you an example.
I believe you.
Okay? No, I'll give you an example. You don't have to believe me. I'll prove it. Okay? The human brain cannot comprehend the negative. You ready? Don't think of an elephant. Yeah, I know. You can't tell the human brain not to do something, right? And so what happens is we very often reinforce things when we put things in the negative, right? I can't get apart. I can't get apart. I can't get apart, right? Or I can't do this versus I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this, right? And it's such a huge thing to convert things into the affirmative. You're supposed to do it with children as well. We're supposed to say, instead of saying to children, don't eat on the couch, we're supposed to say, eat at the table. Right? We tell people what we want them to do, not what we don't want to do. Pilots know this, right? It is well known in the pilot community that when you tell a pilot, don't hit the obstacle, they'll hit the obstacle. because what they're doing is focusing on the obstacle. Skiers know this. If you ever seen skiers go through trees, do you know how they do that? It's very easy. It's actually surprisingly easy. If you go through trees on skis and you go, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, guess what you're watching? You're only looking at trees. All you're doing is seeing trees. You don't understand how anyone can ski with all these trees, right? As opposed to follow the snow, follow the path, follow the path. The only thing you see is the path. Skiers know this. If you say don't hit a tree, you'll hit a tree. You won't be able to find a path because all you see is millions of trees. If you say only follow the path, you actually don't see any trees. There's actually very sparse trees. There's plenty of path. There's plenty of snow. It's the same thing for you. If you focus on the obstacles, all you will see is obstacles. If you focus on the path through the trees, all you will see is path through the trees. It's your choice how you choose to perceive your own career. It's literally perspective.
So that was really good. It's literally perspective. One thing he said is that we reinforce things when we put it in the negative, which is why when I like my wellness center is called shifting the way you think, right? So if your thought process is like, I'm never going to be anything, or um, I can't ever get it right, right? Your mind is only going to focus on ways that you cannot get it right. Like that's a proven fact. When you see a car, like whatever car you drive, I'm sure you see it all the time because that is the car that you're looking at on a regular basis. Oh, hey, Cynthia. Um, that is the car you're looking at on a regular basis. So your mind is always seeing that. And so when you're thinking about something you're trying to achieve, and I'm just going to like show you this wellness wheel, when you're looking at this wellness wheel and there's an area that you're trying to work on, it's so important to be mindful on how you're framing the thing you want to work on. When people talk about manifestation and I manifested it, it's not that it just came into their lap. What happens is that they're focusing on the outcome and what they're trying to do. When I think about the things that I've done over the last like 10 years, everything that I've done, I've never seen it done. I don't know anybody that's doing it. I didn't have like this amazing like support network, right? Everything that I've done, I've thought about the outcome. I thought about what are the possibilities of the positive that can happen. Did the negative thought process come in? Yes. Like it's not that I can avoid the idea of what if it doesn't work out, but my focus is on what if it does work out. And if it does work out, what will it look like? And so now my mind begins to visualize the possibilities of a positive outcome. And some things that I've tried didn't work out, but I didn't feel like it was bad because it allowed me to like kind of pivot and reorganize and look at the way I'm doing it, right? So as you're thinking about the things that you want to work on and your goals, and the last video I'm going to write is going to give you a practical step to think about it, because your mind needs to see it. Your mind needs to see the possibilities with the environment, with the visuals, right? And so that way, now that's the focus, right? If I'm only talking about things aren't going to work out, if I'm only talking to people that are talking about it in a negative way, because people, not that they're bad people, but some people can't even see it for themselves. So they have a hard time even thinking about the possibility of it happening to you. So even being mindful on how you are framing it to other people and what you're listening to. Like all of these things your mind is taking in. Your mind, like when you think about your mind, you got to think of it as like, because you're in control, or you should be in control, but a lot of us aren't. But your mind is just gathering all of this stuff, these experiences, the information. And what's happening is our mind is taking inventory and it's creating a narrative. And so if you want to be in control of what that narrative looks like, it requires you to make space to be still, pay attention to what's going on, reframe, right? As soon as that negative thought comes in, like, can this really work? There's a possibility that it won't, but there's also a possibility that it would work. The way you frame the things that you want in your life, it matters because, again, your mind is listening. So, really being mindful on how you're saying things and what you're entertaining, because that can be a factor that can cause you to struggle with like moving forward with your goals. So as I think about solutions, right, because once you understand the way the mind works, it's your responsibility to work on changing how it's going to look. Um, when you're trying to focus on your goals, create an environment. And if you don't have people, YouTube is a great resource. I've a lot of the ways that I've been able to move forward in different areas of my life has been through YouTube, has been through books, has been through podcast, has been through like networking, right? So I'm not just going to sit here and tell myself, oh, well, I don't know nobody else that has a practice, or I don't know nobody else that has this, when I have so much information at my fingertips. So really being mindful on the environment that you're curating is important. Mindfulness is an important practice. Why is it important to make sure that you're working on being mindful? Is because you have so many thoughts and things that are happening on a regular basis in your life, that if you don't work on creating a system to filter out what doesn't work for you, right? Because those thoughts, they're not fact, they're just thoughts. They're things that you've experienced. If you're not making time to filter it out, what's going to happen is that they can feel like your current reality when it's not true. And then answering the negative thought, right? So when you think about uh, um, the thought that might come up, like, is this really going to work? If you just let that thought continue to say, like, oh, this isn't going to work, is this going to work? You're going to start to believe that it's not going to work. So instead of just allowing those negative thoughts to stay in your mind, just going on and on. And sometimes people, when I listen to a lot of different people, some people don't like to call the thoughts negative, right? They're just a thought, right? And sometimes the thought that comes out, is this going to work, could be based off of some past experiences that your mind is pushing forward and worried about, like, oh, it didn't work out last time, so we want to prepare you. There's a possibility that it might not work out. So if I look at it as my mind trying to warn me, it's technically, is it a negative thought or is it a warning system that's taking place? Right. So sometimes it's helpful for people to hear it that way, like not looking at things as a negative thought, but more as something that may be trying to warn me, trying to take care of me. And so that's when I like tell myself, like, this is something I teach to people that I work with, when these moments come up of like the past, when they're trying to move forward, whether it's a job, a relationship, whatever it is. I say, take your hand, you could take your hand, put it over your heart, and just take a deep breath and say, like, I'm okay, thank you for trying to protect me. Because a lot of times that's what's happening, is those thoughts are coming up in place, because it's like, oh, whoa, what's happening? You're really about to start this new relationship. Like, remember what happened last time. And the relationship that you currently could be in might be healthy, but because maybe the last one wasn't as healthy, your mind is like freezing, and your mind is like struggling with the idea of this new relationship. And that's where you self-sabotage. You can use that same analogy for a work situation, or a business opportunity, or a friendship, right? So when you've had a lot of bad experiences, especially like a caregiver, let's say your first introduction, everyone's kind of first introduction to care and love is through their caregivers, their parents. And so if, let's say, that wasn't a great situation where there was trauma in it, you can find yourself struggling with dealing with people in general, because your foundation was all jacked up. And so when you're entering into like healthy situations, sometimes you may have trouble seeing the healthy situation because your mind's so focused on, oh my gosh, like, what if this doesn't work out? So just be mindful of that. The last thing I want to share is this video. It's a 3-minute video. His name is Stacy, and he shares just a practical step on how you can start to work on achieving your goal. Remember, being able to see your goals and visioning it, like seeing it and envisioning it in your mind is important. And when you can create intentional steps to do that, that's important. It's easy to be like, oh, I want to read, or I want to drink water more, or I want to like start walking more. To say it is great, but the intention behind it is another thing. And so with this video that he talks about, he actually like kind of um, gives you a way to really think about how to start that process. Because one thing I'm big on is like using what you have, and like how can I start today? Like, what can I do right now in this moment to start the process? So let's go ahead and listen to, his name is Stacy Kraft.
Stacy, and I've got another exciting idea about how to keep yourself laser focused in life. One of the greatest challenges that we all have is that there's so many things to do. Everybody's multitasking. You have to be a mother or father. You have to be a good employee. You have to be a good neighbor. You have to be a good manager of your money. You got to take care of the pets. You got to take care of the kids. You got all of these things to take care of. And oftentimes in the midst of a very busy life, we miss the opportunity to remind ourselves of where we're really headed. And so what I'd like for you to do is a very simple exercise. It's called Remind Yourself. I want you to take a clean sheet of paper, and I want you to write down your top 3 goals. You may write down your top 3 goals for the month. You may write down your top 3 goals for the quarter. You may write them down for the remainder of the year. But I want you to take a clean sheet of paper, write your 3 top goals on it, and I want you to put those goals on your refrigerator. I want you to put that written statement or that typed out statement on the mirror in your bathroom. I want you to put that statement on the nightstand next to your bed. I want you to take that same statement, fold it up, and put it in your pocket, so that every single time you reach in your pocket, you're going to pull out a sheet of paper that reminds you of where you're headed in life. There's too many things going on that can distract us from our goals. And when we get distracted, what happens is we start paying attention to things that have no value for us. We start saying yes to things that we should otherwise push away and get focused on our goals. And so this is a great way to remind yourself of what you want to achieve. My whole premise in Minecraft is that thoughts create reality. If I have more thoughts about my desires and what I want and where I'm headed, then I'm going to have more manifestations. I'm going to have more synchronistic activity going on in my life because my mind is starting to attract and to draw those things to me. You see, the goal that you have isn't going to happen because you just go and get it. You're going to have a certain consciousness, and it's going to begin attracting everything necessary for the achievement of that goal. Well, if you're not reminding yourself, then you're not headed in the direction of your highest desires. All I'm trying to do is keep you focused, and I'm trying to keep you on track to what you want to achieve in your life. Don't leave any life on the table because you don't have a way or a system to remind yourself of what's important. Putting your 3 goals on the refrigerator should be a mandated exercise for every person in the house. You should stop by the refrigerator or stop by that sign in the bathroom at your nightstand. Read it 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day. Continue to remind yourself of what you want. And I will assure you that you'll begin seeing very synchronistic activity that'll start leading you in the path of your highest and your truest goals in life. My name is Stacy. This is Minecraft, and I'm just trying to help you.
That was so good. And the reason why he said the refrigerator is because everybody typically goes to the refrigerator every day, or your mirror in your room or in the bathroom, right? You're writing your goal down and putting it somewhere where you're constantly frequenting on a regular basis so that your mind can start imprinting it in your head. And so everything, when I watch these things and I think about the way that I've operated in life, I've literally done that. I've written my goals down. I've put in them somewhere where I can see it. I've been intentional about the process. And so when things are happening for me and to me, it's not that it just happens. A lot of work is happening behind the scenes that requires a lot of intentionality on my part. And so I just wanted to share that with you today because I understand that so many times it's so easy to focus on like, what if this doesn't work or how is this going to happen as opposed to like getting more solution oriented. Anybody that works with me, like we're going to talk about the issues that come up, but we're also going to talk about like ways that we can be more solution oriented. So thank you all so much for listening. In maybe like 2 weeks, today's the 15th. Yeah. Like in 2.5 weeks, I have my grand opening for my open house. My daughter, she designed this flyer. So dope. We're going to have my grand opening for my open house that I'm so excited about. Saturday, November 2nd, 12:30 to 3 p.m. in Stoughton, Mass. And the goal is to just come. I'll have small classes. And even if you don't want to do the class, just to come and check out the space. For people that are wellness providers, the space will be open for you to rent, and where you can practice your own thing or have your own workshop. My goal is to like really curate a space so that people can get healing and literally all of these areas on the wellness well. A vision that I had back in like 2015, 2016, that's like finally coming to life. It's so exciting. So thank you all so much. And I will see you all next Wednesday, same time.